Hello, I am Ralph Sinkay. I am the writer and executive producer of the Pro Bono Watchman. I'd like to speak to you about the making of the film. The idea for it began when I decided that I wanted to write a movie for my friend Mike Gassaway to star in. And my first thought was that I wanted this character of his to have two sides. One side was very warm, compassionate, generous, and also very humane. But the other side, which comes out when someone is being abusive or even violent, well, that's the side in which he becomes like Attila the Hun and just takes you down with authority. That's the very no-nonsense side of Hank Cassidy. And his wife, she aptly describes these two sides as compassionate Cassidy and cutthroat Cassidy. So my first thought in writing the film was that I was just going to write the first two scenes to show the audience these two sides of him. Compassionate Cassidy first and then cutthroat Cassidy. And when I wrote those two scenes, I did not know where the story was going to go after that. I just hadn't decided. It just hadn't hit me yet. And I thought that if I just write those two scenes, maybe I'll feel something along the way or afterwards. And I did. It occurred to me after that that what should happen is that he should go to help a child. And it couldn't be his child. It couldn't be his daughter or son, or it couldn't be his grandchild. It couldn't be a niece or nephew. It had to be a child that was not related to him, but who needed help, and he was going to provide it. So basically then the idea is that he is spending time with his wife, who is dying. She has a terminal illness. She's on hospice. She's not expected to die within days or even weeks. It's more like months, but she is considered terminal, so he is spending as much time as possible with her. But now, because of this need, he is going to also spend time watching out for this little girl who needs a protector. So that's the basic structure of this story. It oscillates back and forth between his time with his wife and his time as the watchman, the pro bono watchman. And we say that because he's not being paid to do it. He's doing it pro bono. And I think that the two sides of the story work very well. I mean, the synchronization really, really happens. And I'm just very pleased with the way that came out. Now, I think all of our actors did a fantastic job. Nobody dropped the ball. And I wish I had time to thank each and every one of them by name, but I am just going to speak about the four leading actors in the movie. Starting with Kelly Ball Grant, who plays Lillian, the dying wife of Hank Cassidy. Now, it was Mike Gassaway himself who recruited Kelly to play this part. I had nothing to do with it, but I think it was a fantastic decision. This was a very difficult role to cast, and that's because I stipulated ahead of time that this actress, she had to in some way look like she could be dying, and yet at the same time I said she had to be very attractive. She had to be radiant. She just had to look fantastic lying there in this deathbed. I mean, so that's a tough bill. I mean, that's not easy, you know, to put those two things together. But we found it with Kelly. She has a very, very delicate slenderness to her, and that's the side that sort of suggests, well, maybe she's lost weight in the process of chronic illness and she could be dying. But at the same time, she's very beautiful, very striking looking, and she and Mike together look great. There's a camaraderie between them. They just seem very comfortable under each other's skin. They just have a very good rapport and accord in front of the camera. So this was a fabulous decision to cast Kelly. I'm sure no one could have done it better, and I'm very grateful to Mike for bringing her aboard. Then I'd like to speak about George Welder, the actor who plays Lamarcus Gentry. Now, I already knew George because he was one of the stars of my last movie, his stretch of Texas ground. And in this case, he's playing the wayward father of a little girl. And I very much like the way he did it. This wayward father, I think of as a very tragic figure. You get the feeling at the beginning that he's, even though he has a wayward past, that he's trying very hard to turn a new leaf and to do things right. And you really don't doubt at all that he has just very, very strong feelings for his daughter. He loves her, and he really adores her, and there's just really no doubt about that. But like I say, it's a tragic story. He's a tragic character, and I think George just did it beautifully. He really, really brought out all of the emotions that I was looking for. And I'll also tell you that there's an action scene at the end that George is involved in, and he did it extremely well. And remember that this is a low-budget movie, which means there's no money to pay stunt people. I mean, the actors had to do everything that you see, including that difficult scene that George did. So very grateful to George Welder for his role in this movie. Then I want to speak about our child star, Cariana Carhu. Cariana is one of the stars of a very popular show on Amazon called Panic. And she has a very diverse acting experience prior to this, including commercial acting. For instance, I know she was in a Super Bowl commercial. But one of the things that we put out in the beginning was that this actress was going to have to dance. And there's a part in the story where her character, Bonnie, who loves ballet, dances for her father. So Cariana and her parents were willing for her to undergo ballet training in Dallas, where they live. And they did that for many weeks before filming began, where she learned a ballet routine to a song that was written for the movie. And Cariana did it beautifully. Her dancing is just superb, and I am just so grateful to her and her parents for doing that. You know, my company paid for the ballet lessons, but you know, they devoted their time to that without compensation. I'm very grateful. But there's more. I mean, Cariana, even though she's only 9 years old, she's 9 years old playing a 6-year-old, and that got sold perfectly. She comes across very young. But I'm telling you that she is really like a seasoned actress. She has such great instincts. She has fabulous intuition. And she already has a wonderful ability to improvise and colorize scenes beyond what was laid out for her, you know, in the script. So, again, Cariana was a tremendous gift to this movie, and I am absolutely convinced that she is a child prodigy. So, just am thoroughly grateful for getting her to play the part of Bonnie Gentry. And finally, our star, Mike Gassaway. He has won the Best Actor award now at 8 or 9 film festivals. And here it is, the end of September as I'm recording this, but there are a few more festivals left, so he may win more acting awards as we go forward. But I knew about Mike because he was one of the stars of my first film, My Stretch of Texas Ground, in which he played Senator Harlan Crothers. And I learned from that experience that Mike is a improvisational actor. He acts by intuition. And he ended up coming up with dialogue that made that character much richer and better colorized than what I had come up with in the script that I had written. So, and that surprised me. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, in this case, Mike did it again. I wasn't so surprised this time because I knew that that's how he works, and he did not disappoint. He came up with some very colorful dialogue, and also this was an extremely strenuous role for Mike. He had to fight, he had to run, and he, like, again, no stunt actors. Everybody had to do their own thing. So again, Mike really gave 110% to this, and I'm just very grateful. And I tell you, I only have one regret. I really almost wish we could see more of Hank Cassidy. I think it would be interesting to see what comes of him after the events of this story. I mean, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I could imagine another very interesting movie about this very, very likable character of Hank Cassidy. So again, I don't know, but fingers crossed. Never say never. Before I finish, I want to thank our director, Ray Spivey. Ray came up with some story elements himself that I did not write. And he came to me and he said, "Ralph, we should have a scene here showing this. We should have a scene there showing that." And I went ahead and wrote them, but really credit for them should go to Ray because they were his ideas. And he also came up with a very, very, very good idea for the final scene in the film that was entirely his idea, and it added a surprise element that really, I think, brought up the caliber of the scene. So, yeah, Ray Spivey did a great job directing, and I am very grateful to him. So all in all, I just want to say that I think the film came out very good. I'm very glad I did it. I'm grateful to everybody who was involved, including the crew. And as it says on our poster for the film, that more than anything else, this is a story of devotion. The devotion of a man to his dying wife, and at the same time to this little girl who needs help. And you really get the feeling that he would take a bullet for either one of them. And it's very, very touching to me, and I hope that it's very touching to you. Thank you.